So you think you know what kills people first in an apocalypse? Let me guess. Zombies? Nuclear radiation? Evil overlords with bad fashion sense? Wrong. Dead wrong. Literally. The thing that wipes out 90% of the population in the first week isn't some Hollywood monster. It's your toilet backing up into your kitchen sink while you're trying to drink contaminated water from a Starbucks cup, wondering why your Instagram won't load so you can document your authentic apocalypse experience. I'm your survival science teacher, and I've got news that'll ruin your day faster than a Facebook algorithm update. Everything keeping you alive right now? It's held together with digital duct tape and a prayer to the Wi-Fi gods. And when it snaps, and it will snap, you've got about 72 hours before modern civilization becomes a really expensive museum exhibit. But here's the kicker. While everyone else is arguing about whether the apocalypse came from aliens, AI, or just really angry climate change, you'll be the one who actually survives it. Because unlike those other channels that think survival is just hoarding canned beans and pretending camping is hardcore, we're going full science mode. We're talking chemistry, physics, biology, and a little bit of how not to die horribly thrown in for flavor. Survival rule number 1. Everything you trusted is now trying to kill you. Everything you ignored is now keeping you alive. Ready to find out why your comfortable life is basically a Jenga tower built on quicksand during an earthquake? Let's crash this civilization properly. The water apocalypse. When H2O becomes H2O no. Your tap just became a decoration. Congratulations! Water treatment plants don't run on hopes and dreams. They run on electricity. Massive pumps pushing millions of gallons through filtration systems that would make a NASA engineer weep with joy. No power, no pumps. No pumps, no pressure. No pressure? Your shower is now dispensing air with a side of disappointment. But here's where it gets spicy. Even if some magical backup generator kept those pumps running, the filtration systems are dead too. Those UV sterilizers that kill bacteria? Dark. Chemical dosing systems that keep your water from tasting like a medieval plague pit? Offline. Your clean municipal water is now a bacterial gangster movie where E. coli is the protagonist and your intestines are the crime scene. And bottled water? That plastic paradise you're hoarding? Let's do some math that'll make you cry. Average human needs 2 liters daily just to not shrivel up like a forgotten raisin. Your emergency stash of 12 bottles? Gone in 6 days. Hope you weren't planning on sweating, crying, or having any other bodily functions that require moisture.
Water survival science hack? The distillation station. Find the sketchiest water source you can. Pond, puddle, that mysterious liquid behind the abandoned Taco Bell. Doesn't matter if it looks like chocolate milk mixed with existential dread. Here's the science magic. Water boils at 212 degrees F. Everything nasty living in that water dies at temperatures way lower than that. Bacteria start checking out around 165 degrees F. Most viruses wave goodbye at 185 degrees F. You want a full rolling boil, not just hot water with commitment issues, but full-blown bubble party. No pot? Use any metal container. Aluminum can, steel bowl, that decorative flower pot you never watered anyway. Heat conducts, water boils, problems die. But wait, there's more. Steam distillation is your new best friend. Steam doesn't carry radiation particles, heavy metals, or most chemical nasties. Just pure H2O floating around like a clean, invisible angel. Set up a collection system, any slanted surface that lets steam condense and drip into a clean container. Old car hood, piece of sheet metal, that yoga mat you bought during your New Year, New Me phase. The steam rises, hits the surface, condenses, and drips down as distilled water. It's like chemistry class, except instead of getting a grade, you get to not die of dysentery. Pro tip for the desperate. Even your own urine can be distilled into drinking water. The steam is pure H2O, leaving behind all the waste products your kidneys worked so hard to get rid of. Bear Grylls was onto something, he just skipped the important purification step. Food chain reaction, when just in time becomes just too late. Your grocery store operates on a business model that makes House of Cards look stable. It's called just-in-time delivery, which is fancy corporate speak for, we have no backup plan whatsoever. Those shelves get restocked every 24 to 48 hours by trucks that rely on GPS satellites, electronic payment systems, fuel distribution networks, and drivers who show up to work. Remove any one of these elements and the whole system collapses faster than a souffle in an earthquake. 6 hours after the crisis hits, store shelves are bare, not because people ate everything, but because the supply chain snapped like a rubber band under tension. The food's still out there, sitting in warehouses and distribution centers, but it might as well be on Mars for all the good it does you.
Food preservation science, bacterial warfare. Forget hunting. You're not Daryl Dixon, and zombies aren't your biggest worry. Starvation is. Focus on scavenging smart and preserving what you find. Canned goods first, but not all cans are created equal. Check for rust, dents, or bulging. Rust means the protective coating is compromised. Dents can create microscopic cracks. Bulging means botulism bacteria are having a party inside, producing gases that expand the can. Botulism toxin is so deadly that 1 gram could theoretically kill 14,000 people. It's like nature's chemical weapon, except bacteria made it. Here's some food science that'll save your life. Bacteria need moisture, warmth, and nutrients to multiply. Remove any one of these, and you win. Dried foods like rice, beans, and pasta last longer because there's no moisture for bacteria to throw their multiplication parties. Salt is your preservation superhero. It draws moisture out of food through osmosis, the same process that makes your fingers wrinkly in the bathtub. No moisture, no bacterial growth. Ancient civilizations figured this out before they figured out writing. They were literally preserving meat before they could preserve their thoughts. Smoking meat isn't just for weekend barbecue heroes. The smoke contains formaldehyde and other chemicals that are toxic to bacteria, but safe for humans in small amounts. It's like chemotherapy for your dinner. Kills the bad stuff, leaves the good stuff mostly intact. Fire and fuel. Prometheus was a survival instructor. Natural gas lines get shut down faster than a controversial Twitter account. Safety protocols kick in automatically when pressure drops or flow gets disrupted. Your gas stove, water heater, and furnace all become expensive paperweights simultaneously. Gas pumps need electricity to operate. No electricity, no fuel. That gas station you're counting on, it's sitting on thousands of gallons of gasoline that might as well be buried treasure without electricity to pump it up. Winter doesn't negotiate. Cold kills more people than heat because your body is basically a biological furnace that needs constant fuel. When your core temperature drops to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, hypothermia begins. At 90 degrees, you lose consciousness. At 85 degrees, your heart stops. It's like a really unfun countdown timer.
Fire science, friction, chemistry, and desperate measures. The fire triangle is heat, fuel, oxygen. Remove any one and your fire dies faster than a celebrity marriage. But creating that initial heat through friction is pure physics. Bow drill method, you're creating heat through molecular friction. Wood particles vibrate against each other at incredible speeds, generating temperatures around 500 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough for wood to combust. The tinder bundle catches first because it has the highest surface area to volume ratio, meaning more material exposed to heat. No bow drill materials? Battery and steel wool is your backup plan. Electrical current flowing through fine metal filaments creates resistance, which generates heat. Even a nearly dead 9-volt battery has enough juice to ignite steel wool. Touch the terminals to find steel wool and watch physics create fire. Flint and steel works because steel is harder than flint. When you strike them together, tiny steel particles break off, heat up from the impact, and briefly combust in oxygen. Those sparks are literally tiny pieces of burning metal flying through the air. Makeshift fuel chemistry. Alcohol burns clean and hot. Ethanol, isopropyl alcohol, even high-proof vodka work. The hydroxyl group in alcohol molecules makes them highly combustible. Hand sanitizer is basically diluted ethanol with some gel. It burns slower and more controllably than pure alcohol. Vegetable oil can fuel improvised lamps. The long hydrocarbon chains in cooking oil burn steadily with proper wicking. Use a cloth strip or twisted paper as a wick, soak it in oil, and you've got hours of light and heat. Making biodiesel from cooking oil isn't rocket science. It's organic chemistry. Heat used cooking oil with methanol and lye. The chemical reaction breaks the oil's triglyceride chains into methyl esters, which burn in diesel engines. You're literally converting kitchen waste into vehicle fuel.
Communication breakdown, digital silence. Cell towers need constant electricity and internet backbone connectivity. When the grid fails, you get about 4 to 8 hours of emergency battery backup before towers go dark. After that, your smartphone becomes a very expensive flashlight with a really short battery life. Internet relies on massive server farms, fiber optic networks, and routing systems that span continents. It's not just your local area that needs to work. The entire global infrastructure needs to be operational. Break any link in that chain, and information flow stops. GPS satellites keep working, but the ground control stations that maintain their accuracy go offline. Your navigation becomes increasingly unreliable as satellite orbits drift without constant correction signals. Communication hacks, analog solutions for digital problems. Ham radio operates on different frequencies with different power requirements. Many ham operators have battery backup systems and understand how to maintain communications when everything else fails. Learn the international distress frequency, 14.300 megahertz. Mayday repeated 3 times, followed by your location, might save your life. Signal mirrors work by reflecting sunlight in controlled flashes. Polished metal, car mirrors, even smartphone screens can work. Morse code SOS is 3 short flashes, 3 long, 3 short. This signal can be seen from aircraft up to 100 miles away on clear days. Smoke signals during daytime, fires at night. 3 fires in a triangle formation is the international distress signal. The smoke contains carbon particles that scatter light, making it visible from great distances. Green vegetation added to fire creates white smoke that contrasts well against blue sky.
Sanitation apocalypse. The brown stuff hits the fan. Sewage treatment plants need electricity for pumps, aerators, and chemical dosing systems. Without power, raw sewage starts backing up through the system. Storm drains, sewer manholes, and yes, your home toilets all become reverse fountains of biological disaster. Human waste carries every disease humanity has ever encountered. Cholera, typhoid, dysentery, hepatitis, medieval killers making a comeback tour in your modern neighborhood. These diseases spread through the fecal-oral route, which is exactly as disgusting as it sounds. Cross-contamination happens fast. Sewage backup contaminates water supplies, food preparation areas, and living spaces simultaneously. You can survive weeks without food, days without water, but only hours in contact with untreated human waste before serious illness sets in. Sanitation science, bacterial warfare defense. Proper latrine construction isn't just digging a hole, it's strategic biological warfare. Minimum 200 feet from water sources, 100 feet from living areas, and always downhill from both. Bacteria travel through groundwater, and you don't want that journey ending in your drinking supply. Covering waste with dirt or ash after each use serves multiple purposes. First, it limits oxygen exposure, which slows bacterial growth. Second, it controls odors that attract disease-carrying insects. Third, it creates a barrier that prevents direct contact with waste materials. Lime or ash creates an alkaline environment hostile to most harmful bacteria. The high pH literally dissolves bacterial cell walls. It's chemical warfare at the microscopic level, and you're commanding the alkaline army. Hand washing becomes life or death protocol. Soap molecules are amphiphilic. They have both hydrophobic and hydrophilic ends. This lets them surround bacteria and viruses, breaking them away from your skin and suspending them in water so they wash away. No soap? Ash mixed with water creates lye, which is highly alkaline and similarly effective.
The psychology of collapse, human nature's ugly truth. Here's what separates Hollywood apocalypses from reality. People don't become noble heroes when everything falls apart. They become desperate animals with opposable thumbs and childhood trauma. Social conditioning disappears in about 72 hours. All those polite behaviors, those unwritten rules about personal property and helping your neighbors, they're maintained by the expectation that society will punish bad behavior and reward good behavior. Remove that expectation and you get Lord of the Flies with better weapons. Resource scarcity triggers primal survival instincts that evolution spent millions of years perfecting. Your brain literally changes its priorities when it perceives existential threat. Higher reasoning gets overruled by limbic system responses. People who were perfectly reasonable neighbors become potential threats competing for the same resources. Group dynamics shift rapidly. In-group loyalty becomes paramount while out-group members become dehumanized threats. The psychological distance between us and them shrinks to whatever your immediate survival group consists of. Everyone else becomes a potential enemy. Trust economics in chaos. Every alliance becomes a cost-benefit analysis. What can this person provide versus how much do they consume? How likely are they to betray the group when resources get scarce?
These aren't pleasant thoughts, but they're survival calculations your brain makes automatically. Information becomes currency. Knowing where resources are located, which areas are dangerous, who can be trusted, this knowledge determines who lives and who becomes a cautionary tale. Hoarding information is just as important as hoarding supplies. Violence escalates gradually, then suddenly. First, it's just harsh words over resource allocation. Then it's threats. Then someone throws a punch. Then someone picks up a weapon. The line between civilization and barbarism isn't a wall, it's a slope, and it's steeper than you think.
The cascade effect, how one failure destroys everything. Infrastructure systems aren't independent. They are interconnected like a house of cards built during an earthquake. When one fails, it creates stress on all the others until they collapse in sequence. Power grid failure kills water treatment, which creates sanitation problems, which spreads disease, which overwhelms medical systems, which creates more deaths, which creates more sanitation problems. It's not a linear progression, it's an exponential cascade where each failure accelerates the next one. Supply chains operate on the same principle. Food distribution relies on fuel distribution, which relies on electrical systems, which rely on maintenance crews, which rely on communication systems. Break any link and the entire chain snaps. Social systems collapse follows the same pattern. Local government depends on communication with state government, which depends on federal coordination, which depends on international agreements. When communication fails, authority structures fragment and local strongmen emerge to fill the power vacuum. Adaptation strategies? Darwin meets Mad Max. Flexibility beats strength in survival scenarios. The people who survive aren't the strongest or the smartest. They're the most adaptable to changing conditions. Your 5-year plan becomes a 5-hour plan, becomes a 5-minute reaction. Redundancy is your new religion. One water source fails, you need 3 backup options. One shelter location becomes compromised, you need 2 more ready to go. One person in your group gets sick, you need their skills distributed among others. Skills matter more than stuff. Equipment breaks, gets lost, or gets stolen. Knowledge stays with you until you're dead. Learn multiple methods for everything critical: fire making, water purification, food preservation, first aid. When your primary method fails, your backup method keeps you alive.
The ugly math of survival. Population carrying capacity isn't an abstract concept, it's brutal arithmetic. Take your local area's normal population, remove industrial agriculture, remove modern medicine, remove efficient distribution systems, and see what percentage that environment can actually support long-term. Spoiler alert, it's a lot less than currently live there. Competition for resources follows predictable patterns. First, the weak and unprepared die off quickly. Elderly, sick, those with medical dependencies. Then competition intensifies among the remaining population until equilibrium is reached between resources and population. It's not pleasant math, but math doesn't care about your feelings. Either you understand the equations or you become part of them. Final reality check, the choice. So there you have it, survivors. 5 systems that collapse simultaneously. Cascading failures that turn your comfortable world into a resource competition nightmare. Water systems fail, creating disease and dehydration. Food systems fail, creating starvation and conflict. Energy systems fail, creating cold and darkness. Communication systems fail, creating isolation and misinformation. Sanitation systems fail, creating disease and social breakdown. Each failure accelerates the others until civilization becomes archaeology. But here's the thing about humans that gives me hope. We're ridiculously good at not dying. We've survived ice ages with stone tools, plagues that killed half of Europe, wars that consumed entire continents, and the invention of reality television. We'll probably survive this too. The question isn't whether humanity continues. The question is whether you're part of the humanity that continues, or part of the fertilizer helping plants grow through the ruins of shopping malls. These aren't pleasant truths, but truth doesn't negotiate. Physics doesn't compromise. Chemistry doesn't care about your political opinions. Biology doesn't respect your social media followers. Reality operates by rules that preceded you and will continue after you're gone. You can learn those rules and use them to survive, or you can ignore them and become a statistic in someone else's survival story. Your choice starts now, while you still have choices to make. While YouTube still exists to teach you. While mistakes are embarrassing instead of fatal.
while preparation seems paranoid instead of necessary. Because when the lights go out for real, when the water stops flowing, when the trucks stop coming, when your phone shows no signal permanently, you'll discover whether you're a survivor or just another casualty of comfortable assumptions. The apocalypse doesn't send invitations. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't care about your schedule, your mortgage, or your weekend plans. It cares about one thing. Can you survive when everything you've trusted stops working? Your answer to that question determines whether you're writing humanity's next chapter or providing organic matter for whatever grows through civilization's corpse. The timer's already running. Make it count.